All right, if you have ever, even for a second, felt like you are just buried under a mountain of digital work, this explainer's for you. We're going to talk about how AI can take your most annoying, tedious tasks and turn them into super simple automated workflows. Basically, we're turning all that manual drudgery into pure digital speed.
Does this look a little too familiar? You've got a mountain of digital paperwork, notes all over the place, endless email threads. If your workspace feels this chaotic, I promise you, you are not alone. It's a feeling we all know. But what if I told you there's a really clear path out of all this mess?
So, let's start that journey. Our first section is all about framing the problem. How do we actually go from that manual chaos we just saw to a place of streamlined digital efficiency? To make that leap, we have to start with what is probably the single most important idea in this entire explainer. It's a fundamental shift in how we think about AI. It's about seeing it as an assistant, not just another tool.
And this slide really nails the difference. On the left, you've got the old way. We think of AI like a hammer, something you pick up for one single task and then put down. But the new standard, over on the right, is treating AI like a true assistant, something that can handle entire workflows by chaining tasks together, one after another, taking all that tedious mental work off your plate.
So the big question is, how do we actually build this AI assistant? Well, spoiler alert, it is way easier than you think. Let's look under the hood at the simple but really powerful mechanic we're going to call the copy-paste workflow.
First things first, let's just demystify this term, AI workflow. Forget about coding. Seriously, it's just about chaining small, logical steps together. You have an input, you use the AI to refine it, and that leads to an action. That's the formula, and you can use it to solve some really big problems.
And here it is. This is the core engine that makes it all happen. It's a simple 4-step loop you already do 100 times a day. You copy text from a source, you paste it into the AI with a prompt, you copy the result that it gives you, and then you paste that result as the input for your very next step. That is it. If you can copy and paste, you can automate your work.
We call this chaining thoughts. See, instead of trying to write one giant perfect prompt to solve a huge problem, you just break it down. The output from your first prompt, let's say it's a summary, becomes the input for your second prompt, which might be to pull out a to-do list. It's less like giving a command and more like having a productive step-by-step conversation with your assistant.
All right, enough theory. Now for the fun part. Let's see what these workflows actually look like in action with some real-world examples you can start using, like today.
Let's start with a problem we all know, and, well, we all know it, the inbox avalanche. How can we use this copy-paste method to finally get it under control?
Here's the chain. Your input is one of those super long, messy email threads. Step 1, you ask the AI to summarize it. Step 2, you take that summary and use it as the input for your next prompt. Turn this into a to-do list. And for the final step, you take that structured list and ask it to draft a professional reply. You're turning noise into signal in just 3 simple steps.
Okay, next up, that weird fog that happens after a meeting. You've got pages of notes, maybe a recording, but no clear idea what the next steps are. Let's use our workflow to tackle that classic time waster.
I mean, just look at this transformation. You start with a raw, jumbled meeting transcript. The AI workflow turns it into a quick summary, pulls out all the key action items into a clean little table with owners and deadlines, and then it even drafts the follow-up email to send everybody. It literally turns chaos into pure accountability.
And for our final use case, let's look at a really common challenge. How do you take a ton of dense information and give busy people the bottom line, like right now?
This is such a game changer. Imagine feeding a 20-page report into a workflow that acts like a funnel. It just processes all that text and spits out 3 critical things: a 1-paragraph summary, the top 3 decisions that need to be made, and a draft email that outlines it all. It's about delivering instant clarity.
Okay, so these workflows are obviously really powerful, but let's talk about what really matters. What is the actual, measurable payoff for spending a few minutes setting these things up?
So let's be honest, is this actually worth the effort? What is the real return you're going to get on your time?
The answer is a huge yes. We are talking about saving around 2 hours per day. That is 10 hours a week. Just stop and think for a second about what you could do with an extra 10 hours a week.
And here's the simple math behind it. A typical manual task, like figuring out a complex email, takes about 14 minutes, right? You got to read it, process it, figure out the tasks, and then write a reply.
With an AI-assisted workflow, that whole process shrinks to about 2.5 minutes. You do that just 10 times a day, and boom, the savings add up to nearly 2 hours.
So, you've seen the idea, you've seen the method, and you've seen the incredible payoff. In this final section, we're going to put it all together with a few key takeaways so you can go automate your day.
And here is a final pro tip that's going to save you even more time. Do not reinvent the prompt. Once you build a workflow that works perfectly, save it. Think of it like a recipe. You're building your own personal library of prompt recipes that give you consistent, high-quality results in seconds.
So let's recap the 4 big ideas to get your new digital assistant up and running. First, start thinking of AI as a workflow engine, not just a chatbot. Second, use that simple copy-paste loop to chain your steps. Third, focus on turning those messy inputs into clean, actionable outputs. And finally, save your successful workflows as templates so you can reuse them again and again.
Your workday is already full of workflows, even if you don't call them that. You're processing emails, you're summarizing meetings, you're planning projects. So really, the only question left is, which one are you going to automate first?